Let's roll.
Obviously a big rivalry game, so I guess what does the Fremont Cannon and this rivalry mean to you specifically?
Man, Fremont Cannon is, obviously all the things, the 545-pound heaviest trophy and, the most expensive trophy, all those things. But in my career with what we've been through with Coach Alt and all, it's, back in the day in rivalry games, and I've been in the Civil War, the Apple Cup, there's really nothing like the battle for the Fremont Cannon, the size of it, and in the state, it's just really a special rivalry, and it's one that the North takes very, very seriously and always has, and Nevada obviously the Northern Nevada area takes a great pride in it, and obviously my family's grown up here, so we're part of that program.
You came here in the late 80s, so I guess when was your first viewpoint into how important this game was to this area?
Yeah, when I came in 1989, I've seen the head coach from UNLV come out in a uniform. I've seen teams change uniforms in the locker room. I've seen, unfortunately, personal fouls before the game because teams came on other people's ends of the field. I've seen the just about everything in this rivalry. But at 1989, it was we were a 1AA team and they were a Division I team, and I think we had started off rather slowly that year, one of the few times that we did, and I think that game, beating UNLV in our stadium in 1989, gave us the impetus to roll off, I think, 7 straight wins and end up almost making the playoffs. If we did, I think we may have even made the next year we went to the national championship game. But that was a big driver in the turnaround of then 89, 90, 91, only losing 3 games, I think, after those seasons. But that was a big driver there. That team really took off after that win, and those kind of things can happen.
I know you guys usually have a spot for that cannon in your field house. It sounds like there's a paper mache cannon in there right now. I guess what is the situation with that?
Yeah, so so our players don't forget what this rivalry's about. There's a replica of the replica of the Fremont Cannon that we keep in there, just so every day when they come to work, they know what's supposed to be there and what is part of our commitment to this program in Northern Nevada that it's supposed to be there.
What do you feel like you guys accomplished during the bye week? What was the focus?
Yeah, it was just getting better every day. We got a little bit of work done against UNLV. Obviously, it's a little bit different situation. You get a lot on bye weeks because they're on a bye week at the same time we're on a bye week. So it wasn't like we were waiting to watch another game. Everything that both of us have in our repertoire with their coaching staff, our coaching staff is already in there. So we had a chance to work a little bit on it. Other than that, we worked on we played against each other. We got some of our young players reps out there in periods and some of the guys that we are trying to decide when to play their 4 games and what they can do to help us win games. We went through all that so we could look at them at full speed. Got some of our guys that were getting a little banged up in a 4 or 5 game stretch there, got them some rest, and then Friday we did a great community service engagement over at San Rafael Park and did some work over there, and I let them have the weekend off, and we got back yesterday and went back to work. We had a little bit longer practice yesterday, a few more periods just because we're a little ahead and we wanted to stay ahead. And then today's our day off, and tomorrow we'll get back in pads and work the game plans.
Coach, how anxious are you guys to play this game, especially given how close you guys were last year?
We're anxious to play any game right now. We're getting better, and we want to continue that progress. I know the guys, they're working hard. They're in there. But obviously this game, playing it at this time of the year is a little bit different from what most rivalry games you experience at all the different places I've been. But, hey, when they show up on your schedule, you got to be ready to play them. And we had a bye week to get them ready, and we've done a lot of education on what this game's about and what the cannon's about and what the history is about. Not to put any more emphasis on it because this obviously has all the emphasis it needs, but we want them to have confidence, focus, and the right demeanor going into the game.
What is the biggest difference having a rivalry game in the middle of the season versus the last game of the regular season usually?
Yeah, it's I've never felt it before, so it's something that you got. If you had it right in the middle without a bye week, I think it would be less than it it is at the end of the season. But a bye week, I think, is probably giving both teams a chance to really dig into it. Usually, you go through the season, and then whatever your season's been, that you ended on that big rivalry going into your bowl game or your championship game or whatever it is. So this is a little bit different experience, and one that I think whenever this game shows up on your schedule, your team has to be ready, and I know they will be. And our guys have been working really hard, and it's exciting. It's an afternoon game in Mackey Stadium. It's the fall weather's going to come a little bit for us this week. It's what you dream about as a college football player and coach. So we're just trying to embrace that with our guys and let them know, how much fun and why we're here and why we play college football and the only chances you get and the meaningful things you remember when you're older and you're out of playing are these kind of games. So you got to take advantage of them.
In your estimation, what have you seen from the Rebels so far that's made them so successful? Because historically, well, not necessarily historically, but recently, they've been kind of a doormat of the conference, and this year they're off to a great start.
Yeah, we saw them. They were improving last year. They were an improving program, and I know Coach Odom and that staff done a really nice job down there. Got a lot of respect for him as a coach, and have known him for a while, and his family. His brothers worked with me and for me. I know what those guys are about. I know how hard they play, and they've had a good start to their season. And we played some really good teams. So this is just another one. The games that come along here, all of them are big games. This is obviously one of the biggest games, or if not the biggest games that we play every year. So, but that team is improving. They got a lot of talent. They play hard. We're going to have a really good game on Saturday.
Coach, when it comes to this week, from what it was last year to what it is this year, is there any difference in feeling trying to defend the Cannon versus trying to win it back?
That's a really good question, and not one I've thought about a whole bunch. I mean, it's whether you have it and have to defend it or whether you don't have it and need to get it. This is still a huge game. So I don't know if in the day of the portal it is understood, and that's my job to make sure our guys know the history of this Cannon and bring people around them that know the history of this game and this rivalry, and whether you're trying to defend it or keep it, this is a huge game, and you got to play sound football, and you focus on the game and not the outside stuff that goes along with it, and don't let things distract us from the actual play-by-play of this game.
And do you anticipate Ashton Hayes coming back at all this season? Is it a knee injury that's hampering him right now?
Ashton's got a lower leg injury, yeah, and I don't believe he's going to be back for a while. I don't know if it'll be this season. We've got to get him fixed up. Obviously, he only played in 4 games, so we don't want to waste a year of eligibility to bring him back and just play a game or 2 games. So when we've got him a career, so we've got some other backs there. Feel bad for Ashton because he was really coming on, and it's going to take him a while to get back, and we'll see how that goes. But with the 4 games and the game that he got, banged up in, that was a blessing in disguise. If you're going to have an injury that's going to keep you out for a while, that we have the option to save a year of eligibility and really have, him for another year longer than we do right now.
Is that something that's going to require surgery?
We'll find out. I mean, it's going to take a while, so we'll let the doctors figure that one out. He's out of practice every day. He's quite a. You guys that are from Northern Nevada know what that guy's about. I mean, he loves football, loves to play, loves Northern Nevada. But we got to do what's best for him and his future and his career too. So we'll see.
You guys did play a couple quarterbacks against Fresno, maybe not out of injury in this case. Do you foresee Brendan still starting this game? How did that competition look during the bye week?
Yeah, they're still battling. Brendan's still our quarterback. Yeah, but we have a competition there, but Brendan has done nothing but get better every time he's been out there. He's given us something with his legs and his leadership, and AJ, when he comes in there, does some good things every time he comes in there, and that's a good problem to have. But right now, Brendan's our quarterback, and I think that's how we go. And we're playing a team that's also used 2 quarterbacks and has kind of the same thing there. Both of them have a little bit different talent level. Both are really talented guys, so this will be a interesting game as far as that goes in the quarterbacks of both teams.
You guys had quite a few penalties against Fresno, which is pretty uncharacteristic of the last couple of years. I guess what's been your message to this team about playing with the proper emotion for this rivalry game without going overboard and having those self-inflicted issues?
Yeah, the focus, when you play confident and you play focused and you play within yourself, you don't have those penalties. And, I think going into that game, we're averaging 3 penalties a game, and we came out of that one with 10. So that's certainly not a trend that we're going to keep doing around here. Some of that stuff is part of the game. It's ebbs and flows, but the amount of what I would call major penalties that we had in the Fresno game is not something that we characteristically do. It's not what our program's about, and we've worked really hard with our players on understanding of those penalties across the board on special teams, offense, defense, and you don't win a lot of games when you win the penalty battle, and we have not had a team that's had a lot of major penalties, specifically this year, and it's certainly something we're not going to do anymore. Hopefully, we made a big emphasis on it.
You guys brought in a lot of Pac-12 players on offense. You look at just the points per game; it is down from last year. I guess what's been the biggest issue in terms of being able to move the ball and score more offensively this season?
Yeah, consistency has been a humongous deal for us, and I think I spoke about it in the post game of last week, or 2 weeks ago. When you can come out against a team like Fresno State, who's probably the best defense play in and play out in the conference, and you open the game with a 9.5-minute drive and come away with no points, and we did that twice in the game before, long drives, almost in 7 to 9, 10-minute drives that came away with no points. There's an issue there with consistency because if you can do that once, you can do it again, and if you can do it for 9 minutes, you can put it in the end zone. And the consistency and the little penalties and the sacks and the missed plays, that starts with coaching, and then it carries down. And there's an optimism there that they can do it, and there's a negative aspect of that we got to start doing that and score. And we've got a lot better skill than we had. And we've got a lot of good play from our offensive line, protecting our quarterback, and we should not be having drives like that where we're not getting points on the board, especially when you have one of the better field goal kickers in the conference and you're moving the ball like that, and it's hurting our team, and we got to get that we got to get that drive finished and continue those drives. You can go a drive here and there and not get points out of it, but when you go a 9-minute drive from one end of the field to the other, you got to come away with points on that. That's a big confidence booster for the whole team, and it's also a big negative if you don't, and you don't do it more than you do. That's a problem.
Seems like UNLV really wants to run the ball, and they've had some success. I guess how would you gauge your guys' run defense so far this season, and why has UNLV been so good running the ball?
Yeah, well, they do some good stuff. They've got some interesting schemes there. It's very similar to back in the day of the old triple option stuff. That's a zone read scheme, but it's got a dive, a pitch, a quarterback keep aspect of it. They spread you out, so they flatten you off. That if somebody misses a tackle, it turns into a big play. Our run defense, other than the what I would call an inadvertent whistle in the Fresno State game that everybody stopped on. If you take the rest of that game, I think our guys had, Fresno had 25 carries for negative rushing yards the rest of that game, other than the one run that our guys said there was a whistle blown and it didn't stop play, so it wasn't a whistle. But in that game and the game before, in the first half or in the first 3 quarters of the Texas State game, the run defense was really good and then broke down on missed tackles at the end. But I think our run defense has gotten better and will continue to get better. And other than the big plays or the inadvertent plays, I think we've been in good run fits. And this is certainly a scheme that will challenge our linebackers and our secondary guys being in the right gaps. And I think those are some of the stronger areas of our team right now. So we'll see how that works.
Do you have a most memorable moment of this rivalry during your time at Nevada?
Most memorable, man, that's a good question. I would have to say, I don't even know what year it was, but sometime in the 2000s or 2010 plus area, we shut UNLV out here in Mackey Stadium. I think it was the only shutout in the series, and that was a team that that used that as a driver to go forward there. But we had we came out defensively that day. I want is in the 40-0 range or something, but it was the first shutout in the history of that game. That would probably be one of the bigger moments for me, other than, I don't know, I've been on the winning side of this 18 or 19 times, so those are all big games.
Did the returning players talk to the transfers at all about, this game and what they experienced last year? You guys coming so close and just needing a couple of yards to win the game and falling short, and how that's maybe driven them?
I mean, I think we've talked consistently about having a first down at the 3-yard line with 30 seconds to go in the game and not being able to finish, and that's been a big driver for us from the time that game got over. And hopefully the older guys are putting that on to the guys that weren't here, and the young guys, how that felt in the locker room and how we didn't finish, and how to win games you got to finish. And we'll see. But the practices have certainly been that way, and they've had a little bit different focus. And I think our leadership on this football team has come a long way.
Last week, Isaiah Sesema announced he was leaving the program. How big of a shock was that to you?
It wasn't a huge shock. We talked. Isaiah's he's a good young man, and part of the things this day and age is the opportunities for guys to do this all over the country, and certainly his playing time had decreased with the growth of KK Meyer and Michael Coates and Devin Gunter, and some we have more depth at that position, and we tried to help that situation out with him to get him some snaps on offense and kind of do some two-way stuff. But at the end of the day, he felt like it'd be better for him and his career. And, I don't fault anybody doing what's best for them. But at the end of the day, this is still a team game, and we got to look out for the 120 guys on our roster and wish him the best. And, it's never good to lose a player. I'd like to keep everybody, but we also have some good guys at that position that have really come along. Michael Coates had a great game at Fresno State for a long time, and KK got the twisted ankle, but KK Meyer obviously showed everybody in the conference in the country what he was about on that first drive at Texas State. So I think the future at our corner positions is really bright right now, and so that's part of this game in 2023, in rosters and portals.
Isaiah's situation aside, what do you make of the ability to play 4 games and then look for an opportunity elsewhere? Good for college football, bad for college football, depending on the situation?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff going on in the portal and the situations in college football that everybody's trying to figure out the best way, but it certainly takes away from the team aspect of football. I think the 4 games for freshmen is a really good thing, because you don't have to play them in the first 3 games before they're ready and then have the injury, red shirt, and all that stuff. It gives you a chance to, like we did this week in the bye week, see guys like D'Angelo Davis, Jonah Lewis, Nate Burleson. We get a chance to watch them in practice and decide, now that we're in conference, which 4 games we want to use them in, or Marshawn Browns that are coming along. But I think with older guys that have been in the program, I think you probably have to ask the players on this team how they feel about it.
KK situation, will you be up for this game?
Yeah, KK's back practicing. Yeah, he got kicked in the ankle, and it became I don't know how you would describe it, not sprained ankle, but almost like a stinger of the ankle. He was having numbness in his foot, and he just, at corner, you got to be 100%, especially against a team like Fresno State. So we just couldn't. He tried, he went in, he went out. They taped. There just wasn't enough time for the feeling to come back to get him back out there. So, but Mike Coates stepped in. Obviously, Jaden Dedman's one of the better corners in the conference, and then when KK's out there, Devin Gunter played a lot in the game. Jonah Lewis, a good freshman corner for us. So we've got some bodies there that we can play. Obviously, Trey Weed was a corner when he got here. Kane Savage was a corner. So we've got a lot of depth at that. But that was one position that we're pretty lucky to have depth at.
What do you think a win in this game could do for the team for the rest of the season? Be able to pull that cannon off, break the losing streak, put it in front of the home fans?
Yeah, I mean, It'd be huge. It'd be huge. You know, that's what we're planning. That's our focus. That's what we're preparing for, and that'd be the next step in this to play a complete game, to play a complete game on all three sides of the ball or as close to it as you can. And if we do that, and we don't have the big ups and downs of a game, and we just can continue to play hard, you know, and look at the scoreboard at the end, things will work out for us. You guys good? All right, guys.